Evening to all of you. It's absolutely a pleasure to have a conversation today, a dialogue with PK. PK, better known as his full name is PK Narayanan, but I think most of us would miss that. Multifaceted personality with so many varied interests. And yet, today the conversation is going to be focused around coaching, which is one of his absolute passions. And within that, we are really going to talk about the idea of positioning. So, welcome, PK, into this conversation. And it's really a delight to have this dialogue with you.
Thank you, Anand.
Wonderful. So, let's get started. I ideally like to probably just structure it as what is this idea of positioning? Then we'll get into why is it important, especially in the context of coaching. And then we'll also perhaps touch upon how do we go about doing that. Yeah. So it's very interesting. Whenever we talk about position, what comes to my mind is sports. I'm a little bit of a sports fanatic. So uh, take any game, and there are players who are sort of earmarked for specific positions in which they play, and they play well. So I wanted to just touch upon that and hand it over to you to really expand on this idea of positioning. What does it mean, and how do you see that manifesting itself in the area of coaching?
Sure, I think it's a nice beginning because sports, whether it is especially team sports,
Yeah.
has a lot of parallels. Lot of parallels. Just to make it simple, even an opening batsman or an opening batter, yeah, is a position. But coming to coaching, positioning can have multiple connotations in different businesses. But here, in particular reference to coaching, it means positioning ourselves in a way to serve a specific segment of society in relation to certain aspects of their life or work in a particular way at a particular price point. That completes the kind of positioning that we can do consciously. It's a conscious process, and it's a deliberate choice that we make as a business. So broadly, positioning is a consequence of choosing where to play and how to play. To that extent, in business terms, it is strategic. Yeah. In practical terms, positioning involves the process of creating a unique and favorable perception of our service in the minds of target customers. So
Mm.
it is a creation of perception of our service in the minds of target segment. So it involves establishing a distinct identity that resonates with our target audience and so on and so forth. So why or what is the relevance of positioning in any business, in particular reference to coaching? It helps us to stand out and get noticed in that market segment in a crowded market, which is otherwise. Yeah. So it attracts the right customers, builds trust over a period of time, builds a brand over a period of time. And interestingly, it commands a fair price, even a premium for our services, and it drives revenue growth as a business, yeah, as we go. So positioning helps clients see us,
Mm.
find us, and choose us. So you asked me why positioning in the context of coaching. Most coaches I meet, they don't have any skill problem. They have a being understood by the market problem. I'll repeat that. There is no skill issue, actually. It is the issue of being understood by the market. So, in the market, another reality may be brute, but is that talent alone doesn't get rewarded. Clarity gets rewarded. Yeah. So, one can be a brilliant coach, still struggle commercially if people can't describe what you do or can't tell why you, not another coach. Yeah. So the market doesn't find really the depth. We may have a lot of depth, but market doesn't find it. It finds and pays the clarity. So that's why positioning.
So clarity is one of the fundamental tenets, as you see from a positioning perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and it also helps enables us to position ourselves in a manner that others can see us. Now, you spoke about it's others' perception of us. Now, even before we get in there, there is also a self view of that perception. When you talk about brand, I think to some extent it feels like a little bit of a branding as well. First is, I think, to almost figure out what is the brand that I want to project. And the second piece is how do others perceive my brand? So, as I'm developing my skills in this area and starting to be known as a coach, how do I decide which area should I move into? And typically, how long would it actually take for us to get that sense of comfort and conviction that here is what I want to be, here is how I want to position myself?
Good question. See, I would probably put a brand behind.
Mm.
Because of positioning, brand happens.
So, brand is an outcome of the positioning.
That is true.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to clarify there, what position is not, positioning is not, rather, it's not our bio and it is not our credentials. It's not our methodology, not our tools that we use, not the frameworks that we have one after the other, not even our designation. Yeah. Many of us conclude if I mention myself as an executive coach, my positioning is over. No, not even the designation, such as executive coach or life coach or leadership coach. No, that is not positioning. That is still a designation. See, positioning is about who you are for. Let us think from that angle, whom we are meant to, which part of the society that we are going to be of use. A clearly defined customer segment is the part and parcel of creating a positioning. Without that there is no real positioning. Clearly defined customer segment and what they get working with you. So which pain point that you are going to address and what are they going to get working with you as a result of working with you. And more importantly, Anand, why that problem is relevant for them.
Mm.
Yeah, there could be many problems that I have as a coach, but all of them are not equally or commercially relevant. So there is a kind of picking up the right problems to solve. Even in the customer segment, we need to know the segment. So now we come to the question that you asked: how do we know how to position? So we need to know our segment pretty well. We need to be familiar with the terrain that they walk. We need to be familiar with the common challenges that they face and the specific challenges that they face. Even common challenges, addressing them, yeah, okay, that is better than doing nothing. But if you are able to pick up the specific challenges which are commercially relevant to them, if you are able to find them, if you are able to find a solution as a position yourself as a coach to co-create the solution for them, that is where the success happens. And also, what is the price point that which you are offering? In every market there are price points. Even if you narrow down the particular type of clientele that you want to serve, let's say first time IT managers or first time senior leaders, a person who is just promoted to vice president or equivalent position, all these are narrowing down in adequately to a level that you can address. But even there, the price at which you offer your service matters. Yeah, so that is also part of positioning. Whether you are a life boy or a Literal or a Pierce, the
Mm.
proverbial example of pricing. So positioning is how your prospect sees you and decides whether they can trust you, remember you, engage with you. So for beginning, I would say the The safest way is to service some part of the society that is familiar for you or where you come from, and where the terrain and the landscape is familiar to you.
Mm. And PK, I know that you are a CEO coach, and you're very clear about that. You spoke about clarity in the beginning. When did that clarity come to you? How long did it take as a practicing coach before you were able to really nail it down to saying, this is the space that is sort of my sweet spot, and here is where I would operate, here is how I would position myself.
Day one.
Wow. And what helped you do that?
See, yeah, you asked this question earlier. There is no standard time frame to find your niche. Probably it could happen very early, like
Mm.
in my case. It is not even day one, day zero, because my pitch document said, even before I had a first CEO client, I said I am going to service the clients, I mean, service the CEOs. So it can be that. How it happens, is because if you have two or three areas that look quite promising, probably you start with two and boil down to one. And just to give you, I am also in the midst of a transition, and Subhash knows about this. See, when I started in 2013, January 1st, I offered two kind of solutions to CEOs. One is to scale up small and medium enterprises, and also to scale up the leadership presence for the CXOs and CEOs of large companies. And as we speak, since the middle of last year, I have been now moving from two to one. And currently, I'm in transition last 6 to 9 months. And you would be probably seeing it in my social media and other handles, even in the website. So there could be narrowing down further.
Mm.
But very rarely, when you position yourself, you will have to increase because you didn't attract enough leads. There is no timeline for how long it takes. If you start firing in all directions, how long it takes to hit the target, Anand?
Good question. But if you're starting to fire in all directions, could it also provide um, could it create a challenge in one's own mind if I'm missing out on that? Because there
Hmm.
is an expectation that if I'm firing, I would like to hit the target. And when I don't hit the targets, it creates a little bit of a churn in the mind. So that's the other piece that I want to ask you. What could be the mind blocks for us to really be able to get to that level of sharp positioning from either day one or day 20 or day 50, whatever?
Hmm. See, the fear is constant, whether it because the fear is that if I niche down to narrow area or narrow definition of my customer segment, will I lose my opportunity? This is the question, right? Will I lose on opportunities if I narrow down too much? Right? That is the fear you
That
are
is one of
expressing.
the questions. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So this fear is there, throughout. The reality is that narrowing down, in fact, increases the demand. Narrowing down increases visibility. It signals clarity from you as a coach, and it shows confidence, not limitation. The reason I will tell you, the clarity feels risky to the coach. That is why we are fearing.
Mm.
But confusion feels risky to the buyer. Which one do you want?
So there's a two constituencies that one has to handle. One is the self, which is the
Ah,
coach ourselves, and the
hmm,
other one is our coachee. And it's
absolutely.
almost as if I think we need to create that sense of conviction for our own selves that this is exactly where I want to be. Uh, so you must have read this book, The Range, right? It speaks about dabbling around in multiple things before you're able to really figure out what is it that you want to do. And I would
Do we
presume
have
even in coaching space, you sort of coach different segments of people before you say this is where, is that something that might create a sense of de-risking in people's mind.
Do we have, sorry to interrupt, I mean, sorry,
No
I
worries.
thought I almost paused you there. But my question there was that do you have that luxury of time?
It's a subjective, yeah.
See, already we are all starting after having some career somewhere. Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, it's a range of age. I am not going to go specific there. But do we have that range of or that luxury of time that I will try this and I will try that and I will try this and I will try that and then yeah, I will see what works. I mean, where are you headed to in that case? And what is the message you are sending to the market? And who will feel confident to sign up?
mm.
Yeah, it is like going on the outer ring road of Bangalore. From outer ring road, you have Mumbai Road, Mangalore Road, you have Mysore Road, you have Kanakpura Road, you have Hosur Road, you have Old Madras Road. From outer ring road, you can enter any of these roads. But if you safety may be in the outer ring road because you can choose any road. You may feel it safe, but market is doesn't know which turn you are going to take. They
Mm.
feel risky. Instead, if you take the Mumbai road, people who want to go to Mumbai will join you.
So that is also critical in terms of feeling comfortable with saying, I'm good with taking the people who want to go to Mumbai. I'm okay to let the others be where they are, right? I'm not
Ah,
trying to be everything to everybody. And that clarity and that sense of comfort needs to be built in one's mind as well, right? To let go of some of the other things, at least from an illusory perspective, it's out there as a target segment that is unaddressed.
absolutely, isn't it, Anant? In every sphere of life, don't we have it?
Mm.
If we want to catch an Indigo flight to Mumbai, do you catch any other flight? And if there is an opening batsman, unless there is a predicament or a context, does he bat 8 or 9? If there is a forward in a football game, does he stand in a as a fullback?
Mm.
In every sphere of life, if you want to go and buy a particular brand of a particular position, particular kind of clothing, do you go to some other store? Only when it comes to coaching, why are we so confused?
It's very interesting. It's very interesting that you mentioned that. It's not um, flexibility, agility. These are also words I think we use quite a bit from an industry point of view today, given the market forces, given the demographic changes, expectations that are changing at a frenetic pace and whatnot. As much as you would definitely need to have that positioning and clarity, how do you factor in the sense of agility into it?
Agility is in servicing the clients in that segment,
Okay.
not in switching segments.
Mm,
Yeah. If you ask me a question, I have put on this positioning and I'm actually refining my positioning further. And maybe that is my journey. Since it was contextual, I took it. It is not that there is any right way of doing anything. There could be multiple ways of even finding your positioning well. The point that I was making is I am a coach and I invest myself in sharpening my coaching skills all the time. In that sense, I can coach anyone in theory,
mm.
but I choose to coach only CEOs because that makes business for me. Does that mean that I cannot coach an IT engineer who is just passed out from college, or an IT manager who is in mid management segment, or a doctor who comes in with an issue? I can, but I won't chase them.
Those are more exceptions than the rule,
No, I won't chase them,
right?
first of all, because it doesn't make commercial sense. For me, I want some people to see me and come to me. I want some people to trust me. I want some people to remember me, even if they don't sign up. I cannot do that with 140 crore Indians.
Yeah.
I can do that only with a handful of people, maybe 1,000, 10,000 people. So I need to narrow down so that I am visible to them. But I am visible to them to an extent, I add value to them, even if they are not my clients, to an extent through social media, sharing my expertise, experiences, this, that, and everything, to an extent that they can't forget me. That is business success.
And do you also align the investments that you make on yourself as well as part of your
Absolutely.
learning and other things also very aligned to the need?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't need to read every literature that is out every day. I need to
Hmm.
read only literature that pertains to CEOs and their life. I don't need to read anything else.
Interesting. I think there's a question from Satyajit. Satyajit, would you like to just call it out? I was trying to understand the question. You may probably be able to articulate it better.
Question, PK, is like, when, as you rightly said, when you are able to coach, different types of people, so you try to learn more on various areas, and then it becomes difficult to, decide which niche area you will succeed. Although you are very confident about you are succeeding in each area. However, which one will give long-lasting success, uh, becomes a question mark. And then the higher learning, higher qualifications makes it more difficult to decide the niche. So how do we, you know, put a stop there? Okay, this is enough. Let's focus on the niche.
See, Satyajit, if you are starting a business or if you are contemplating starting a coaching business, you would make your business as successful as possible, isn't it? The intent is always to make the business as successful as possible. So, all that I am saying is that day one, you need to position yourself. Okay, here let me bring another aspect also. In any case, you are positioned. There is no escape from positioning. A poor positioning or a strong positioning or anything in between. That is the only choice. Even somebody who doesn't say any particular niche or any particular service, I am a coach, I am an executive coach, I am a PCC, he is or she is also getting positioned in the market. There is no escape from being visible or being positioned in a way. But you are visible to whom? Who is going to trust you? How are you communicating your value? How are you going to be able to see the people with the poor positioning or not conscious positioning or not deliberately positioning themselves? They fight for price, right? I am a PCC, you are a PCC. We fight for price. Whoever is cheaper, client is going to choose. Mostly, I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is the case with all the question. But the point I'm limited point I'm making is that if you are not positioned well, you will fight for price. If you are positioned well, you will command a premium. This is the difference. And in any case, you are positioned. There is no escape. So you have two choices: either position yourself consciously or position yourself unconsciously. A weak positioning or a strong positioning or anything in between. It is a coordinate coefficient that you choose. Coming back to your question, Satyajit, it's a question of how to maximize my chances of success. It's a business place, it is a market. So you will start with things that you are confident about. You where your mind you have intellectually you have some familiarization, and jidhar man hai, I mean where your heart is, you are feeling emotionally connected to a segment. You will choose that because you can stay engaged for longer time if you choose something like that. Otherwise, even a small hurdle, you will drop and go to some other segment. So these are some of the ways in which you can in coaching unlimited, of course, we figure out, there is a workshop in which you figure out your own niche based on few parameters that we discuss. So there are certain parameters, there is a science behind positioning. It is not accident. There is a science behind positioning. You
And
can, if you wish, you can.
so what I hear, PK, is that regardless of whether we do the positioning or not, if we don't, the market will attribute some default positioning, which may or may not be in alignment with what you want to position yourself as. So you might
Absolutely.
as well be deliberate about it, is I think one of the takeaways that I'm picking up from here.
Beautifully said.
Taking
Beautifully said.
control of it and being deliberate about it.
Beautifully said.
I think Subhashini, you had some question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, very well said. I would say go with your heart, where your heart is, right? So, say if I'm very passionate about coaching a, a group of maybe a section of the industry or people, but when I do my business research, I find it is not making that much of business sense, right? So in that case, what would be your advice? Do I follow my heart or my head?
In business, it is more of, in a situation like yours, you may have a, where you are emotionally, you are connected to a certain segment of society. That is the first preference. But I would encourage you, if it is not commercially viable, if they either they can't make the payment, it's not viable what you want, or that problem that you identify is not very significant for them. In your research it comes out as it is a desirable thing, not a want, not a need, then you have to go to the next item emotionally, where which else or which other segment is engaging for you, because of course numbers have to match, and it needs to make commercially viable. And mind and heart here and anywhere else also, it doesn't work independently, they are always together. Even in business, mind and heart has to work together, otherwise one of them will upset us and drop the ball and go somewhere else. Yeah.
Thank
Head
you.
and heart go together, right? The two parts of it.
Absolutely.
Jai Krishna has a question, and I think we may have answered some of it, but Jai Krishna, you want to quickly call it out?
Oh yeah, thanks. What yeah, in a sort of crux that comes on the top of the mind, PK, is should positioning be engineered or discovered?
What do you think is more appropriate for a business?
For me, I think, for me, the top of the mind conviction that's emerging to me, PK, my mind is saying it should be discovered before you engineer it. Maybe after discovery, you take a firm, assertive positioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think engineering is fine tuning. In your word engineering, what you exactly mean by engineering?
Engineering, as I think through, is not that I force myself into, saying this is what I like, this is what I believe I like, and therefore let me go that way only. But the other thing is, I go through the journey, and then over a period of time, I make the realization that this is what I think I'm good at, and this is what the market is saying I'm good at. And then I position.
Yeah, which will be a best point to start your business?
I think
Mm.
the heart is saying, don't be in a hurry, discover.
Yeah. So another aspect that we could check out is that um, who will sign you up if they don't have clarity as to what you do. So Anand also asked a question. Can you, on the way, you realize or figure out what works, etc. But on the way, who is going to get into the car on the outer ring road? Somebody has to go to Chennai, somebody has to go to Mumbai, somebody has to go to Mysore. Who is going to get onto your car with no boards? If there is a board, Chennai, the people going to Chennai is likely to get into your car depending on whether the charges are okay and how many other co-passengers are, condition, context, etc. But if you are without any board, if you are traveling on the outer ring road on on a Reiki, as Satyajit also have mentioned in the message, as a Reiki, yeah, there is a need to research. I am not saying that go blindfolded. There is a research, but my only question is whether you do the research before starting the business or after starting the business. That is the only question.
Through, PK. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
perhaps PK, to your point again about the outer ring road, it just struck me. So there may obviously be passengers who are also very clear about their destinations, right? Wanting to go to Chennai or to Mumbai. And yet there may be some who are actually just going one of the in-between places. So the ring road will take them there. It doesn't matter which
Perfect.
side of it. Possible, I'm just saying. So what
Perfect.
it also means is to maybe, like you rightly said, understand the segment itself, right? How many are going the long haul? And for them, I think because the stakes are high, like you rightly said, it's a premium positioning, and therefore you absolutely need to build it. Whereas if it's somewhere in between in the ring road, many of us can take them regardless of whether we are going to Mumbai, Chennai, wherever. So
Yes,
it's an
yes.
en
So
route destination.
even
Yeah.
then, you have to have a board saying outer ring road.
Outer ring. Okay. Yeah.
Even if you are doing it, you need to have
Mm.
a board saying outer ring road. And if you are yourself not decided, the problem with the outer ring road board is that even if you are lucky to get some passengers, from Silkboard to Marathali, it will be 1.5 hours.
Mm.
And your average speed in outer ring road will be 8 to 10 kilometers per hour. So your earnings, even if it is 2 rupees per kilometer, it is 20 rupees. Whereas if the earnings are same 2 rupees per kilometer, if you are going on a Madras road, Chennai road or a Mumbai road, you will cover 60 kilometers in an hour. So you earn 120 rupees. In outer
Mm.
ring road, you earn 20 rupees. Same time.
I'd heard something in a lighter vein. It said it's a love letter written with to whomsoever it may concern. Right. So
Ah.
if you don't address to, the person that you want to really address it to,
Yeah,
then
I love
perhaps
all. I
there may
love
be no
all.
takers for that. I think we'll take one more question. I do recognize that we are almost getting closer to the end of it.
Anjan
Anjan, I
Naik
know,
has,
yeah,
yeah.
Anjan had raised his hand sometime back. So Anjan, please go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Anand, and thank you, PK, for sharing all the insights. Though the question that I wanted to ask you sort of answered previously, and while answering that, you brought a point of research. Essentially, would you do the research before you pick your positioning or not? While fundamentally the answer is yes, you would do it. I want to see if is there a framework for the research that you are suggesting to take here?
Yeah.
I mean, I come from a pure play product leadership background, and obviously the frameworks we followed there was go and talk to customers, check and do the need analysis, and multiple other things. Is it the same thing that you suggest here, or what else from a research point of view can somebody pick and do here?
Yeah, precisely. I think there is a science behind positioning and there is a process. Yeah, there is a process. One needs to do some discovery sessions
Mm-hmm.
around that, what you intend to do. So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, we ourselves need to make our mind up. That is, what is the product, what is the service, and what is the features it is likely to have, and what is the price point that it is going to
Mm.
satisfy my requirements. With that, you may do some market check, market research in
At
that
this stage.
sense.
Mm.
Yeah, some you may go and meet some people that you know who will not judge you, and
Mm-hmm.
where you will go. I mean, who also knows the market segment that you are talking about. So it
Mm-hmm.
should be, yeah. If you are you choosing a market segment, they also should have some visibility into the segment as to their
Mm.
problems and what is their paying capacity and willingness to pay and things like that. So
Mm.
there is a process. So yeah, so there is a process, and we started, me and Subhash started sharing these processes around 3-4 years back through Coaching Unlimited program. So in that, you also figure out what can be the best option for you. So first
Mm.
of all, that lies with you because you are the product owner in this case.
Mm. Mm.
So you need to decide what is your best offer. Whether you are going to be a bowler or a batsman or a whatever.
All around it, whatever. Yeah.
So that we only need to decide first. Yeah.
Mm.
Nobody from outside is going to tell you you are going to be good at this because they
Mm.
have very limited visibility of our capability and our heart, mind, all that what makes a business.
Mm.
So we cannot run away from that. We cannot take any excuses from that. We
Mm-hmm.
need to first of all figure out who is the best case for my coaching and what
Mm.
kind of solutions are relevant for them and which will be or what will be my best case for my success.
Mm.
No one else can tell you better than you. So that is where the journey starts. Once you figured it out, you do a market check and you do few clients also in that segment. You try to get some leads, get some
Mm.
discovery sessions, get some clients, paid clients in that segment. If
Hmm.
it works, works. And if you stay invested in it for an year or so, generally, it takes some time to create some visibility and some traction. We
Hmm.
shouldn't be impatient. At the same time, we shouldn't be patient too much.
Hmm.
So we need to fail fast, but it shouldn't be in haste.
Hmm.
So we need to stay with what we have chosen and whether we are doing our best to stay
Hmm.
engaged with that segment and is it working. And if there are some green shoots and if there are some early successes, etc.,
Hmm.
engineer it further. I am borrowing the terminology that I know in the meaning that I attribute from JK.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
engineer it further, you refine it further,
Hmm.
and keep refining, and it is a never ending process. Even after 13 years of CEO coaching, I still keep refining my positioning.
Hmm. Thank you so much, PK.
Wonderful. I'm again conscious of time. So, PK, there are a couple of other questions as well. So, what's the best way for them to explore some of these further? I know you had alluded to Coaching Unlimited a
Yeah,
couple of times. So, is that
yeah,
is that one of the ways by which one can do that?
yeah. I am just putting my email ID on the chat box. So please send me the questions. I will answer one on one.
PK, for really, I think, illuminating this whole piece and providing a good positioning on what is positioning, right? Giving us a perspective on that. Like we said, some of us may be comfortable, some of us may not as yet be comfortable, and we'll have to explore within self as well in terms of what could be some of those barriers. And perhaps that's another conversation. I think hopefully we can take it up sometime as well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if
Yeah,
I can. Sorry, Anand. If I
you
can
got
just tell you, it might probably look like we all come from different streams of corporate or other experiences. Some of us have worked for-profit, some of us not-for-profit. Some of us are from legal background, some are from HR, finance, marketing, sales, product, engineering, multiple backgrounds. And a business may look like a black box. And it may be true also to an extent, business may look like black box. But if you are going to invest our life behind a business of coaching, my encouragement for all the well-meaning coaches is that we do some base work, some groundwork before we, embark on the journey. And it is not complicated. It is not complicated. Yeah, we can figure it out, and we can keep things simple. Today what I have told you probably is all from a practical point of view. So what we can do is that we don't need to complicate ourselves and say that complexity always difficult to handle. We can simplify and go step by step, and there is no need to feel too much exhausted or overwhelmed by
Mm.
this. Business is there are crores of businesses in the world. All of them didn't study business or learn business before they started. We also can do that. But my encouragement is that do some basic groundwork and create a cornerstone within which you can play better. That is the intent of this conversation.
Fantastic. Fantastic. At least pick up the game first. Do you want to play cricket or hockey to start with? Then we'll figure out within cricket, do we want to be the opening batsman or batter that comes later? Thank you so very much. And good evening to all of you. And with that, I think we'll close our session. Thank you.